Hello and good morning. This is the CBC Morning Report, and we do apologize for our delayed start. Heading off the news, Barbados recorded 103 new COVID-19 cases, 47 males and 56 females, from the 725 tests carried out on Wednesday. Those tests were conducted by the Dos Santos Public Health Laboratory. The cases comprised 18 people under the age of 18 and 85 who were 18 years and older. There were 49 people in isolation facilities, while 997 were in home isolation. As at March 16th, a total of 326 people had died from the virus. The Public Health Laboratory has carried out 601,053 tests since February. Trinidad and Tobago recorded a slight increase in COVID-19 cases a week after this year's taste of carnival offerings. TTT reports.
Epidemiologist Dr. Avery Hines said the Ministry of Health noted an unusual number of COVID-19 cases on March 7th.
So while we did see that upward peak, that uptick, it wasn't something that caused enough significant severe illness to burden the healthcare system. So it's not that it's concerning that we're missing data. Again, we see it, we know what it's from, but the impact has been mitigated by a few things, and one of them is the severity of the illness itself.
Though cases of COVID-19 infections and deaths are declining in most countries in the Americas, the Pan American Health Organization says there are still too many cases and deaths reported every day, a clear indication transmission is not yet under control. According to Assistant Director Jarbas Barbosa, while many countries and territories are on track to reach the World Health Organization's 70% COVID vaccination target, and 8 have vaccinated more than 80% of their population, 21 have yet to vaccinate half of their population.
And we must remain committed to getting COVID vaccines to all those who need it. As countries work towards the 70 coverage goal for COVID vaccines, they must ensure they are reaching the right groups, especially the most vulnerable adults. Countries should make decisions about COVID-19 vaccination policies based on scientific evidence. This means keeping their focus on the elderly, healthy workers, and other high-risk groups, even as vaccination rates rise in the overall population. They must work with local leaders and organizations to tailor their communication campaign towards communities' concerns and close the gaps that remain.
We'll take a break and return with more regional news. The St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association believes the decrease in COVID-19 cases will allow medical practitioners more time to concentrate on other diseases prevalent in the country. We have more in this report.
Globally, the World Health Organization has been expressing concern about the lack of attention given to other diseases that continue to claim millions of lives each year. St. Lucia continues to record high levels of non-communicable diseases such as child obesity, cancer, as well as diabetes and hypertension. President of the St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association, Dr. Merle Clark, believes the recent decline in COVID-19 cases will afford healthcare specialists the opportunity to pay more attention to patients who are suffering with such medical conditions.
It is certainly good news. It takes some of the stress, some of the strain off healthcare providers. Some of our Cuban colleagues who have been with us really from the start will get an opportunity to see their families. Some of our members, of course, will get an opportunity to get those long delayed vacations. So that is important because burnout and the impact on mental health has been a key factor during this pandemic. It is a very isolating disease, not only for healthcare providers, but also for patients. So again, just to reiterate, we're in a good place, relatively good place right now as it pertains to COVID-19. As we have seen, vaccination is now predominantly at the mass vaccination sites have been closed, and you'll contact your nearest wellness center in terms of information on vaccination.
Primary health care facilities are now being repositioned to tackle non-communicable diseases.
Russian forces are denying targeting a theater in Mariupol, which housed civilians sheltering from the conflict. The mayor of that city calls the action genocide. We hear more in this report.
For this Kyiv neighborhood, another early morning awakening from the war. An incoming missile was intercepted, with falling debris killing a resident below. People in cities on the front line, like here in Kharkiv, continue to bear the brunt. Parents of children at this shattered school have come together to try and restore classrooms.
We came to help. We heard that such a catastrophe happened, and I don't know how to describe it. It's inhuman.
There's more fierce fighting on the streets of the southern port of Mariupol, with the destruction of a theater where Ukrainians say more than 1,000 civilians were sheltering. The Russians deny targeting the building.
The only way to describe what has happened today is genocide. Genocide of our nation.
Hundreds more people have finally managed to escape the siege of Mariupol, such as Lydia, who spent 2 weeks in her basement without heat or running water. The whole place is destroyed, she says.
We still had corpses there. They didn't take the bodies away for 7 days, and it started to stink already. It was scary, very scary.
And at the main church for the military in the western city of Lviv, a funeral for another soldier killed in conflict. While this war continues to arouse condemnation of the Russian invasion on the world stage, here in Ukraine, each death locally seems only to strengthen the resolve to join the fight. Outside Lviv, more training for volunteers. This soldier calls himself Krim, meaning Crimea. He says he left his home on the peninsula when it was seized by Russian forces in 2014 and is vowing not to be moved on again.
Now Lviv is my home. I'm more interested in a democracy than in a totalitarian state.
These volunteers will soon join others like former international tennis player Sergei Stakovsky, who says he had no choice but to put on a uniform and pick up a gun.
Even if I will be capable of shooting, killing someone is marking you on your life. So I don't believe that any of the Ukrainians are willingly doing it, but we don't have any choice.
With both sides seemingly unable to find a way out as the war goes into its 4th week, casualties are mounting all around.
Ukrainians fleeing the war and Russians fleeing the sanctions have found themselves at the U.S.-Mexico border, hoping to get into the United States to seek asylum. Al Jazeera tells us other asylum seekers are made to stand aside and let them through.
Dasha, her mum Vera and dad are about to try and complete a more than 10,000 kilometre journey. This is what they're fleeing from. They say these videos show their hometown, Nikolaev, in Ukraine. Now, via Moldova and Romania, they've arrived at the Mexican border town of Tijuana. Their hope to get across that line and into the United States. How has this been for you, Dasha?
It was hard. We were sleeping in the car by 3 nights because we're staying in a queue to leave Ukraine.
I imagine that because you're the English speaker, you're having to do a lot of the logistics. Right? Yeah. Dasha's 14, but all her effort could still be for nothing. There have been reports of Ukrainian refugees being turned away. They're pulled aside and then let in. We saw several other Ukrainian families similarly ushered forward. It seems here the blue passports become the ticket through. The red one of Russia is proving less effective. A small camp of dissidents from that country was stuck outside the gate, asking for asylum too after opposing the war. Mike is also half Ukrainian and is frightened of being conscripted to fight against a country where he has family.
24 February, my country attack Ukraine. Lvov, Rivne, my brother and sister live this city. It's shock for me, shock.
For the Russians here, Europe isn't an option. Flights and countries are closed to them, but not Mexico, where they can get in via a tourist visa, then travel up to Tijuana. There are far more of them than Ukrainians here, sleeping rough outside the entry point to try to pressure officials to let them in. So far, the only word has been wait. The United States has a public health order in place because of the pandemic, which says that it can reject just about anyone who is asking for asylum apart from unaccompanied children. And what that means in practice at entry points like this one is that it can really pick and choose who it lets in. And it seems that at the moment that's Ukrainians, yes, dissident Russians like the ones in the camp, not so much, and the Mexicans and Central Americans that say they've been living in unofficial conflict zones for years now with next to no hope of getting into the US. We found this family of 17 watching as the Ukrainians went in ahead of them. Their green passports carry little weight. The granddad told me they fled southwest Mexico after he was kidnapped and beaten. The rest of the family threatened. That was 2 months ago.
You feel bad because you can see that they give priority to another country. How am I going to feel? But what can we do?
That's going to be a constant question for the desperate in countries neighbouring the United States as they wait and others go first.
The United Nations is sounding the alarm at the high levels of malnutrition in Lebanon. The nation was already suffering economic woes, but now rising food and fuel prices are adding to their plight. Al Jazeera reports.
It's one of the world's worst economic collapse in history. At least 2 million Lebanese are struggling to put food on the table. That's nearly half the population. The situation is no different among the hundreds of thousands of Syrian refugees living here.
We don't have enough food at home because my father doesn't earn much money, so we get food from here.
Cases of malnutrition, nearly unprecedented in this once middle-income country, are on the rise. A recent survey by the United Nations on children under the age of 5 is causing concern.
9 out of 10 children are not getting the diversity of food that they need. Many children are actually going to bed hungry. For example, I spoke to a child last week in a school, and the child had just returned to school after a long absence, but the child had not eaten for 2 days.
There are many similar stories. Basil says he is unable to provide the basics for his 3 children because work is hard to come by. In this household, they eat once a day. and milk is substituted with water and sugar.
Sometimes I collect plastic and cans from the streets to sell them. Sometimes I work as a cleaner, but the pay isn't enough to make ends meet.
The nearly bankrupt government has been promising assistance to the most vulnerable for months. With the help of the World Bank, it will give cash assistance to 150,000 families.
The program will help reduce the burden the Lebanese face from the difficult living conditions.
Food prices have increased by more than 1,000% since the financial meltdown began in 2019. The war in Ukraine is making the situation worse as wheat prices rise, and authorities warn they may no longer be able to subsidize bread.
Charities say they can no longer keep up with growing demands. They say those who used to assist now need help themselves.
For now, we are feeding 850 people, but up to 1,500 people have approached us for help, and we can't do anything.
The poverty rate continues to rise in the absence of a government economic recovery plan. Already, 94% of children aged 6 months to 2 years are not getting enough food.
Massive economic growth is expected in Nigeria upon the completion of upgrades to their railway network. Recent transportation improvements have already reaped benefits for commuters and the private sector.
Containers sit on narrow-gauge rail tracks, awaiting delivery to Lagos ports for exports. A few years ago, they would have to make the journey by road. But a multi-billion-dollar investment to revive the country's rail system is beginning to pay off, thanks to billions of dollars in loans from China. Thousands of kilometers of rail networks have been revamped and put to use, opening up opportunities for businesses and boosting the economy. J.C. Nwanko, who operates freight services, saw income grow steadily, along with huge growth potentials.
We have not even scratched the system. We have a lot to carry in passenger services. We have a lot to carry imports, even exports, movements of raw materials within the country. It's so huge. When you put your load on the train, just go and sleep. It will deliver volumes on time, save lives, and employment benefits.
At this train station in Lagos, these passengers who commute daily from Ibadan for work and trading catch the last train home. Just a year ago, they would have to spend 5 hours on the road to get home. Now they do that in 2. Officials now look.
And we'll be back in a moment with more news. Continuing with more news now on the Morning Report, a claim has been made for a large portion of the 10,000 houses to be built by the Ministry of Housing to be constructed in St. Joseph. It's coming from Member of Parliament for that constituency, Attorney General Dale Marshall. In his budget contribution in the lower house, he says the housing stock in the constituency is aging and must be replaced.
They want to see as part of that 10,000 houses program a greater emphasis, Madam Prime Minister and Minister responsible for housing, on a return to our sites and services program. And, you know, I believe that we empower Barbadians when we give them an opportunity to help themselves.
An agricultural specialist has thrown his full support behind the budget announcement that relates to that sector. Dr. Charleston Brathwaite, a former director of the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, says the plan for the agriculture holdings at Laird St. Michael and the alliance with the South American nations are spot on. And with an overall goal of reducing the island's food import bill by increasing local production and sourcing inputs and products from regional sources, he says Monday's budget addresses two of the major dimensions of Barbados' security food challenges.
I remember in the budget, the Prime Minister spoke of the linkages that we are establishing with Guyana, Suriname, and Belize, and in particular, that there will be a collaboration between Guyana and Barbados in terms of developing shade houses, strengthening the project for the promotion of black belly sheep, and also the whole concept of having here in Barbados a hub of food distribution that can serve not only Barbados but other countries in the Caribbean. These are all very important initiatives of things that we have spoken about for a long, long time, but I'm pleased to see that these initiatives are going to bear fruit.
Dr. Brathwaite also pointed to the new water rate for the sector and the removal of excise and value-added taxes on petroleum products as all moves for the industry.
In the agricultural sector, we use a lot of energy for land preparation, for transport of produce, food processing, food preparation, and other activities associated with the production of food. And therefore, the energy input at a lower price is going to make the agricultural industries more competitive. In addition, the cost of water that has been reduced will also help to make the agricultural industries more competitive.
The Windies trailed by 436 runs at stumps on day 2 of the second test against England at Kensington Oval. The hosts were 71-1, with Shamar Brooks unbeaten on 31 and Captain Craig Brathwaite not out on 28. Earlier, England, resuming on 244-3, eventually declared their first innings on 507-9. All-rounders Ben Stokes slammed 120, inclusive of 11 fours and 1 6, while Captain Joe Root carried his overnight 119 to 153 before he was LBW to Kemar Roach. The pick of the West Indies bowlers was Versamy Permal with 3 for 126. Here are the highlights.
Terrific from Stokes.
Well, he's gone the other way this time, and he has gone a long, long way. Gone again, and he's gone a long way again, this time straight down the ground. That huge 6 takes him past 50.
Oh, he's banged it. It's into the wind, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, wide, far too wide.
Oh, that's huge. What a way to go to 5,000 test match runs.
Very close.
It's pitching outside off. Impacts in line. Wickets hidden.
Well, close it was.
Bairstow will go. And Ben Stokes has his 11th Test match 100. Oh, it's gone up in the air. It's gone straight up in the air.
This time he'll have him. Shamar Brooks takes an easy catch.
That's a wicket. In the air. Two fielders converge. Gone. And the decision to declare has come with the fall of that wicket.
Oh, that's better. That is so much better.
Nicely put away by Shamar Brooks. Oh, uppish. It was a loose shot. And the very next ball is drilled through extra cover for 4.
Credit to Brathwaite and Brooks. Numbers 1 and 3 for the West Indies. They've seen it through to the end of the day.
West Indies trailing by 436 runs.
And that's a wrap on Morning Report. We'll be back at 7 with some updates for you. Morning Report is up next. Morning Barbados actually is up next. I'm switching caps here and forgetting which one to put on.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Hello and good morning. Welcome to this fantastic Friday. Let's hope that your morning started out with absolutely no bumps in your road. Now this morning we are going to be talking about a conference, a major conference, an area that we've been hearing is going to be booming for Barbados just now in terms of construction. Yes, it's the Barbados Annual Construction and Design Conference, and it's coming up from March 29th until the 31st. And to tell us more about the conference and what will be happening there are Naomi Tavernier. She's the president of the Barbados International Architects Association. Vincent Jones, who's the Vice President of the Barbados Association of Professional Engineers. Good to see you, Vincent. And Kamisha King, who's the Technical Officer with the TVET Council. Good morning to you, Kamisha. Now, we are talking building resilience. As we know, it's all about climate change and what's been happening and ensuring that our buildings are able to withstand that. So in terms of this conference, which is going to be on the 29th, Naomi, perhaps you can tell us, what made it so key that we look at resilience and how climate change is impacting our sector.
Well, good morning. Like you said, I'm the president of the Barbados Institute of Architects, and resilience is definitely a topic that is on the minds of everyone in the region and in the world. We know that climate change exists, and there are definitely changes that are affecting us. It is affecting our livelihoods, it is affecting the built environment. So this conference comes at a very key time when we need to look at how we can address the issues that are plaguing us in Barbados and in the region. So we are very excited to be working along with TVET and the other associations, BAPE and others, to put on this conference to educate not only professionals but the wider public about what the circumstances are and definitely the things that we need to be looking towards doing to keep Barbados moving forward and to keep the public safe.
Okay, if I can speak to Kamisha now from TVET, what's your involvement about? I know you're responsible for training a number of artisans and so on. So what specifically is your involvement going to be this year in the conference?
So here at PVET, it is our mission, I would say, to ensure that we're a part of assisting the Barbados workforce in their development. So this conference is it's like our baby. It's our first conference that we'll be able to do so big, so we are able to expand. So for us, what we are here to do is to ensure that we're able to provide those continued professional development credits, which is what you're going to gain when you attend the conference. Because for most persons who are in that field, they do have to have that level of credit so that they can continue to practice in their respective fields. So for us, we're playing that important role in assisting them and ensuring that this is a success and they do gain the knowledge and the exposure that they need so that they can continue to build on what they already have.
Okay, and I think we have Vincent here now. Vincent, in terms of BAPE, how critical is the staging of this conference for your organization?
Hi, good morning, Wendy. Any opportunity for our membership to avail themselves of a new skill set or new information, we always deem to be important. Continuous professional development is a part of what professionals do in their activity. So this conference gives us that opportunity to allow our members to be brought up to speed on certain aspects. And we do have certain members involved as well in presenting in the conference. So we are quite happy to support it from attendance and also from participation.
Okay, and now we're talking about members who are involved in presenting. Naomi, perhaps you can tell us about the keynote speaker.
The keynote speaker. Kamisha, do you mind taking that one?
Okay. Andrew Hutchinson?
Yes, that's our keynote speaker. He's very known in his respective field as it relates to architecture. So he's going to be talking about, building resilience and what is needed and why is that so necessary. Because for our conference, that's our team, building resilience. So Andrew's really going to be breaking that down. He's going to be sharing with us some history in terms of how architecture started throughout Barbados, where we are now and where we were before.
Okay, so we're looking to improve on what we already have. Now back to you, Naomi. In terms of our construction sector, there's always a little bit of a debate between whether we should have an architect versus a draftsman, whether the engineers are always talking about whether the carpenters are doing enough and they're doing it the right way. There's always a little push and pull. How can this conference seek to address that and ensure that we're all on the same page where standards are concerned, especially as it relates to the impacts of the various natural disasters?
Well, I think in general, we all want to be on the same page. And with the passing of the new Planning and Development Act, with the building code, we have these avenues where there are definitely standards that are available for us to use. So if we are all referencing the same information, then that's definitely the basis for us to be on the same page. But what we will say is that there are different levels of design that happens within Barbados, all the way from simple residential to the more complex projects, and there's definitely a space for everyone to get a piece of the pie, if you want to put it that way. But the bottom line is that we want to ensure that the standards are allowing for construction to be safe for the public, and so we have to use the tools that are available and to ensure that everyone is using the tools. So this conference, which will, I think, also touch on the Planning and Development Act and development in Barbados in the construction industry, once we can ensure that people have the knowledge and they are working within the realm of what they are educated to do and able to do to provide safe and good construction and projects for Barbados, then everyone really should get along.
Okay. Now, Vincent, who are some of the people that will be attending this conference, and how can you ensure that you get a seat at the table?
Well, in terms of persons attending the conference, I believe the intention of TVET is that it's open to a wide cross-section of persons involved in construction, whether it's architects, engineers, town planners, and persons that have an interest in what goes on in construction. And the construction industry really does have a wide net in terms of the persons involved, whether it is the building professionals, persons in insurance, banking. So everybody has a seat at the table, and everyone certainly can be involved by going to the TVET website. There's information there, and you'll be able to see the different I think grades that or different fees for the different days, or if you want to do the whole package. But Kamisha can really expand on that a bit more.
Right. Yes, Commissioner, they've thrown to you. So it's time to tell us how we can all access this conference.
Okay, sure. So like Vincent said, you can go to our website, and that's tvetcouncil.com.bb. As soon as you go on to our homepage, it comes up on the first slide, and you select the construction conference, and that takes you to our homepage where you see who the speakers will be. You have a full schedule, so you know what's happening on which day, who's going to be speaking, what topic they'll be speaking on. You also get to see who our sponsors are, who are partnering with us on this as well, and you get to see a little bit more about their profile as well. You get to see their pictures, you get to see what they do, so you get a lot of information about what to expect from this upcoming conference.
Okay, so there's a lot on the agenda, and I am sure that we are all going to be happy to be a part of it. Now, before we go, are there any other people that you want to reach out to? Because as I said, TVET's responsible for a lot of training. How are you looking to pull in those who are within your various centers training? Are you looking to ensure that they get the knowledge firsthand as well?
Definitely, it's definitely open to everyone, like Vincent said, because it has such a wide scope. So you would find persons even in real estate, persons who do property management, persons who are in banking and finance. So it's definitely open to those persons, or even for students too as well, who are now looking to study in the field of engineering, or they're studying in architecture, or maybe something to do with town planning. They too are what do you call it? Geographic, they can definitely come to as well, because the information is going to be so useful that they can definitely apply. But specifically for those persons who are already practicing, the goal is that they get to receive a total of 23 credits to continue practicing in their respective field. So that's really beneficial for those persons who are already practicing as well.
Okay, well, I am going to wish you all the most successful conference and ensure that we will be looking to build resilience along the days of this conference, the Barbados Annual Construction and Design Conference. I want to thank you, Naomi, who is the president of the Barbados Institute of Architects. I want to thank Vincent Jones, technical office, the vice president of the Barbados Association of Professional Engineers, and Kamisha King, who's the technical officer with the TVET Council. Thank you all for joining me this morning on Morning Barbados, and do have a successful conference.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Morning Barbados will be back after the break, and we'll be talking law.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
And we're back. We're going to be talking to Stephanie Boyce. She's the president of the Law Society of England and Wales. Now, we would have met Stephanie before, but we're following up because she is actually the first person of color and the second in-house solicitor in almost a half of a century to become president of the Law Society of England and Wales. She got that appointment in 2021. So Stephanie basically is a breaker of barriers, and she is the 177th president, the 6th female, but the first black office holder of that designation. Now, what have you been up to, Stephanie, and how have you been changing the face of things in the Law Society?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me on to speak. Can I say it's been a remarkable year? Today I celebrate 1 year being in post, and I have taken the Law Society to places it's never been. I said I would be visible, and that's exactly what I have attempted to do, is be visible and showcase the work that the Law Society does around adhering to the rule of law, speaking up for the public, and protecting and representing solicitors here in England and Wales.
Okay, now what are the burgeoning issues impacting solicitors there right now? What are some of the concerns they have? Have they been dealing with a lot of pandemic lawsuits? You know, what's been the thing that's occupying your time most?
Well, I think it's fair to say that the pandemic certainly has presented us with challenges, but equally it has presented us with opportunities. So we know across the board, different sectors of practice, we all appear to be busy. But some of the challenges, of course, is within the criminal justice system, where we have a backlog of cases waiting to be heard. Some 58,000 cases waiting to be heard, criminal cases waiting to be heard in the Crown Court. And we know that there is a delay, some cases being listed into 2023, 2024.
Yeah, and that now speaks to the issue of justice for the individuals. Now, I'm not sure if your system works similar to ours, where we have individuals on remand waiting for trial, or if your individuals are out on bail, but obviously we know justice delayed sometimes seems to be justice denied.
Well, absolutely. If you happen to be a traumatized victim, you know, waiting, that delay that's been occasioned is adding to that trauma further. If you happen to be a defendant who is facing, you know, whether you're on remand or whether you are on bail, your liberty is somewhat curtailed, and that could affect your ability to work where you live and other freedoms. So it's absolutely vital that we see the backlog of cases in the criminal courts, and not just in the criminal courts, but the civil courts as well, reduced.
Okay, and how are you actually looking to effect this reduction? Who have you been talking with? How are you gaining ground? Have you been able to get additional hours put on the docket? How exactly is the Law Society going about it?
So this very week, the government has responded to a criminal legal aid independent that we had done, that was chaired by Christopher Bellamy, and that is looking into public funding in the criminal justice system. And the government has announced a number of packages to start to address some of the backlog and some of the issues that we are facing within the justice system. However, those announcements or those packages that the government has responded with are not going to be implemented immediately. And so we will continue to call on the government, the UK government, to ensure that those measures are implemented quickly.
Okay, well, let's hope that they can be. Now, outside of that, what other projects are you currently working on?
Well, a number of projects that keeps me busy. One of the things I'm absolutely passionate about, along with access to justice, is getting law taught in schools, added to our national curriculum here in the jurisdiction of England and Wales. for me, legal rights mean absolutely nothing if you don't know when those rights are being taken away, or indeed you don't know how to enforce those rights. And starting to teach our children from a young age as they navigate their way through the educational system, and they grow up into adult, responsible citizens. Teaching law, and the law, of course, touches every part of your life. You cannot get away from it. From the technology that I'm able to speak with you today, this morning, to the building we're in, the law touches everything, and it's right that we teach our citizens about the law.
Okay, so have you made any headway with your various education councils on being able to get it onto the curriculum?
Well, certainly we continue in our discussions with government, with other stakeholders. It's gaining momentum. It is, I'm told, almost virtually impossible to get something added to the national curriculum. But as my mother says, don't ask, you do this.
I like that. Don't ask, just do. So let's hope that it gets there. Now, outside of that one, and being a female and the first female to hold this post, are there any specific areas in law which you want to see redressed for women? I know human trafficking is one of those things that's up there on my list. I'm not too sure where it stands on yours.
Well, absolutely. So I'm the sixth female to hold the position of president, but the first person of colour, the first black office holder. So there are a number of challenges. So whilst we know that 52% of practicing solicitors are female within the jurisdiction of England and Wales, we know that females are not reaching the senior parts of our profession. Some 17.5% are from a black, Asian, minority ethnic background. But again, in the largest firms, only 8% of colleagues from a black, Asian, minority ethnic background are partners. And that figure has only changed by 1% since 2014. So there has been progress, and we absolutely welcome that progress. But there is a recognition that more needs to be done across the whole landscape of legal services in terms of some of the issues that you mentioned, as well as the issues that keeps us engaged, ensuring that ability, aptitude, skills are the only determinant factors to ensure that you can stay in the law, progress in the law, and thrive in the law.
Now, what about every profession has its bad apples? How has the Law Society been dealing with those?
So the Law Society is the representative body. So the Solicitors Regulation Authority deals with matters of misconduct and discipline. So, of course, the Law Society and the SRA work to ensure that ethical principles in place, that standards are upheld to ensure the reputation of our profession is adhered to.
Okay, and what about what's coming up for you? Because you still have a little bit to go in terms of your tenure in office. So what's on the cards for the future?
Well, it's been an amazing year. So I will hold office until October 2022, so slightly extended from the usual 12 months. I will serve for 19 months. So I'm looking forward this weekend to celebrating with my family and friends and spending some time with them. There is some challenges that still remain ahead, and it's important that I don't take my eye off the ball in terms of leading over 200,000 solicitors in the jurisdiction of England and Wales.
Over 200,000, that's a lot.
Absolutely.
But the level of compliance generally is high. You find most of them do what they're supposed to do. There aren't a lot of malpractice cases against them, etc. What's the general atmosphere?
Well, the general atmosphere is there will always be some individuals who fall short of the standards that are expected of them. But generally, solicitors in England and Wales have a code of conduct to abide by, ethical principles, and we are absolutely united in upholding the rule of law and the reputation of the profession to ensure that we provide the best service to our clients in this jurisdiction and beyond, because we also provide our services internationally.
Okay, now let's look at that. And given the pandemic, a lot of people, were brought closer together, like you said before, because of the technology. So, have you been doing a lot of cases in international jurisdictions via Skype or Zoom and so on?
Well, I'm absolutely pleased to say that for 15 months of doing this job, first as Deputy Vice President and as Vice President when the pandemic hit in early 2020, 15 months of that was done via Zoom or Teams. But I'm pleased to say that I'm having the opportunity to get out and about again, to meet members, to hear firsthand their experiences. This week alone, I have got into university to speak, into a school to speak, as well as meet many of our members. And this afternoon, I will be presiding over an admission ceremony where newly qualified solicitors will come to Chancery Lane in London to meet with me, for me to bestow the honour of admitting them to the solicitor profession.
And how many are they?
What, this afternoon?
Yes, this afternoon. How many?
There's about 70 that will be admitted. So we do it twice a week. So and we're trying to clear the backlog because we weren't always able to do it during the pandemic.
Okay, well, that's happy to hear. So more people coming to help serve justice. I want to thank you so much for joining us. Stephanie Boyce, she is the president of the Law Society of England and Wales, and she's coming close to the end because October will be here before you know it. But I'm hoping that you can clear some of that backlog before you actually demit office.
Thank you.
Have a great morning, Stephanie. Morning Barbados will be back. Stay close to your phone lines because it's going to be giveaway time.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Time now for our top stories at 7. A recent viral video with secondary school students vaping and twerking has caused quite a stir and prompted strong action and condemnation from education officials, parliamentarians, and the wider society. But the Morning Report is learning there are some other videos which are possibly in circulation with lewd content that would be deemed even worse. Founder and Director of Drug Education and Counseling Services, Roger Husbands, shed some light on a video which he has seen recently. He says it has left him very disturbed.
Saturday, I could not believe what I saw, Saturday. But the reality is, Shane, is that the pornography is starting back again now that the school children have gone back to school.
Wow.
Obviously, the sex itself. So we need to teach the parents. The parents need to open themselves to learning new things. Things are changing. Young people get involved in stuff. You can't swear for them no more. You can love them, but you can't swear for them no more because they are influenced by a number of different factors on the outside, and parents need to be aware.
He's appealing to the parents to track the movements of their children more closely, especially their mobile devices. The youth advocate gave an example of the lengths to which some youngsters are going to hide pictures, videos, and conversations on their phones.
This youngster had his phone on something, some password, something on the phone that his parent can't even get to. You can't see the pictures because they're hidden. So the reality is that those pictures are hidden away from parents. So even if parents go through the phone, they can't see those pictures at all because they're hidden. So we need to teach parents how to get into those systems, how to get in those phones so they can check who their friends are. Some of these young girls have got 19-year-old, 20-year-old, 25-year-old men and calling the phone and texting them. And some parents don't even know who they are. They don't know what they're doing when they leave school for the evening. And obviously, with the no years, for years, we've had young ladies hanging out with different people in different areas of town and what's not. And so we need to check and see what the children are doing. You give them phones, put some kind of tracker on them. Call the phone regularly, find out where are you, check the time to get from school to home. And I always said this, Shane, something we could save a lot of these youngsters if parents will act quickly.
And for parents seeking assistance, you can reach out to Drug Education and Counseling Services at 435-8148 or check out the organization's Facebook or Instagram pages. A claim has been made for a large portion of the 10,000 homes to be built by the Ministry of Housing to be constructed in St. Joseph. It's coming from a Member of Parliament for the constituency, Attorney General Dale Marshall, in his budget contribution in the lower house. He says the housing stock in the constituency is aging and must be replaced.
They want to see, as part of that 10,000 houses program, a greater emphasis, Madam Prime Minister and the Minister responsible for housing, on a return to our sites and services program. And, I believe that we empower Barbadians when we give them an opportunity to help themselves.
The Queen Elizabeth Hospital stands to benefit from a generous donation made by the Barbados Hemophilia Association and Charity. During a handover presentation, the Hematology Department of the QEH was gifted 6 ergonomic chairs and a scale which will assist in the comfort of staff and patients. Minister of State in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Sonia Brown, says the donation is greatly appreciated and encourages the public to give back to the hospital in any way possible.
I can only say thank you. This is the start of something good. I want to say, whether the donation is large or small, the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, Ministry of Health, are very appreciative. Many people do not know about many of the donations that are passed on to the QEH. Something as little as a pack of diapers that a patient has left behind when the families leave, they donate to the ward. Some people come back and offer what they can to the ward, and each and every donation, no matter how small or large, is appreciated, is greatly appreciated. And I want to encourage the members of the public to continue in this vein. I want to thank Ms. Worrell for seeing that this donation happens.
The co-founder and president of the association, Erica Worrell, says the gesture is simply her way of showing gratitude for the wonderful care her son received as a patient of the hematology clinic.
We found this donation fitting because we saw the need to ensure that our public workers are comfortable when performing their daily tasks. And seeing as I have been connected to that clinic for the past 16 years, it warms my heart to be able to give back to them as a small thank you.
Shemaine Campbell's unbeaten half-century proved to be vital as West Indies women defeated Bangladesh women by a narrow 4 runs at the ICC World Cup last night. Chasing a below-par 141 runs at Bay Oval, Bangladesh were bowled out for 136 in 49.3 overs. Hayley Matthews had the golden arm, grabbing 4 for 15, while Affie Fletcher and captain Stephanie Taylor took 3 for 29. The West Indies trailed by 436 runs at stumps on day 2 of the second test against England at Kensington Oval. The hosts were 71 for 1, with Shamar Brooks unbeaten on 31 and captain Craig Brathwaite not out on 28. Earlier, England, resuming on 244 for 3, eventually declared their first innings on 507 for 9. All-rounder Ben Stokes slammed 120, inclusive of 11 fours and 1 6. While captain Joe Root carried his overnight 119 to 153 before he was LBW to Kemar Roach. The pick of the Windies bowlers was Versamy Permaul with 3 for 126. Play continues at Kensington Oval today. And that's a wrap for the headline news. We'll turn back over to Wendy with her Morning Barbados cap in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's now time to win with Cure Oxygen.
Yes, it's that time of the morning. It's time for us to get our Cure Oxygen water question, water giveaway. Now, we are going to be winning a 12-pack of Cure water, a polo shirt, and a mask. Let me tell you something about Cure before we go to the phone lines. Cure Oxygen water goes beyond hydration. It challenges everything that you thought you knew about water by helping you discover great health and your limitless potential. This water is available via their website, www.shopsmjbarbados.com, and supermarkets nationwide. Your polo shirt, your face mask, and a 12-pack of Cure Oxygen water. That's what you can win this morning. 228-5562, 228-5563 are the numbers to call us on. And now to our question for today. Cure increases your oxygen saturation, which causes a multitude of proven benefits. List 5 of them. Cure increases your oxygen saturation, which causes a multitude of proven benefits. List 5 of them. Good morning, caller. Can you list our 5 benefits?
Hi, good morning. More stamina, improved skin, mental clarity, reduce stress, better sleep.
Yes, and you have indeed named 5. But there are also several other benefits. You just stay on the line and give your information to our producer so that you are able to collect your 12-pack of Cure water, your polo shirt, and your face mask? The answer is more energy, more stamina, improves skin, boosts concentration, mental clarity. It reduces stress, better sleep, strengthens the immune system, improves sports performance, calms your anxiety, stimulates brain activity, detoxes your blood, relieves headaches, and gives you faster recovery after exercise. And our caller did get 5 of the many benefits which Pure Oxygen water can give.
Pure Oxygen. It's not hype, it's science.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
With the UWI Faculty of Medical Sciences. This morning we're going to be talking about the Chronic Disease Research Center in the community. That's our topic this morning. To help us along will be Dr. Natalie Graves. She's a lecturer in public health and the coordinator of the MPhil PhD in Public Health program. Dr. Kim Quimby, a lecturer in immunology and the coordinator of the continuing medical education, and also Iman Beckles, who's the Medical Students Association representative. Good morning to you, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning. Now, we've been talking about all the good work that your faculty has been doing for a few mornings this week, but we're on to talk about research and all that it means. Now, Natalie, what contributions have your faculty made to research in Barbados and how we've been able to develop certain medical initiatives?
Oh, certainly. So thank you, and thank you very much for the opportunity to be here this morning. So we have a very diverse faculty, persons who contribute to public health, the study of medicinal cannabis, some medical physiology and sports physiology. It was very interesting to see the Pure water that was just promoted just before. So persons from our faculty have been involved in what we call translational research. So research that actually moves from the bench or the lab setting over to the to clinical practice. So for example, in our faculty, we are actively conducting research on nutrition, in particular nutrition that can help with the control of non-communicable diseases, and Kim will speak more about that, but all the way from breastfeeding, how are the best ways for persons to breastfeed, what could constitute the natural and normal components of a diet, how can we control childhood obesity. Those are very active research areas in our faculty. We also have a heavy emphasis right now on cancer and cancer control, in particular things related to end-of-life care, things related to palliative care as well. And there's, I think one of the largest research programs is actually a program that looks at diabetes in the context of the pediatric population, following pediatric populations all the way through to adolescence and adulthood. Also want to emphasize that our faculty has a very specific mandate to improve medical education, and therefore within the context of our faculty, we're also trying to understand what are the best ways in which to deliver medical education. So there's a very active medical education program. Okay. Likewise, because we think about clinical sciences and public health, we also think a lot about environmental health and and diseases related to vectors and vector control. So there's a microbiology research program as well. I want to invite Kim to speak about some of the work that's being done with the Darjeeling Chronic Disease Research Center. There's some very exciting programs going on over there as relates to some of our students, our PhD students who are exploring the food landscape of Barbados. How far do you have to travel to have healthy foods? We have students who have traveled to St. Vincent to understand what's happening in relation to the food environment there after the volcano. But there's also research that's actually being done by faculty over at George Allen Chronic Disease Research Center. So just to stick a pin here to say that we have a very broad faculty with diversity of interests, from medicinal cannabis all the way through to end-of-life care. But also we are focused on translational research that actually makes a difference, a real life difference in the lives of the people of Barbados and the Caribbean. So I'm going to hand over to Kim to maybe talk about the diabetes reversal community-based projects, hypertension projects, and wherever she really wants to take it.
Kim, the ball's in your court.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Natalie, for that option. So I will speak about the Barbados Diabetes Reversal Study. As Natalie said, that was a translational study. So we're taking what we've learned, in the textbooks, and we're actually putting it into practice. So if I give you a bit of a historical perspective, so we're talking about reversing diabetes, not just controlling it with medication, but actually reversing it so that patients can get off of their medication. Now, this is a subset of participants with diabetes, so it's not everybody, and I wouldn't encourage you, to try this on your own at home, but to, reach out to your physician. But what was shown in the literature is that diabetes can be reversed, and it was done within the clinic population. So it was kind of like a clinical study, but what we did, we wanted to translate it into the community because, not everybody can access the clinic because of time, maybe time constraints or maybe funding. So we wanted to train persons within the community who can work with clinicians to have participants reverse their diabetes. So we partnered with faith-based organizations, and we did this maybe like 3 years ago, and we actually trained persons, non-medical persons within the community to monitor patients who were undergoing the diabetes reversal protocol. So we taught them on how to do weights, blood pressures, blood sugars, how to take a food recall diary, and to follow these persons along as they were going through the program. So to cut a long story short, just to get to the results, we saw it was successful. So even within the community, persons were able to lose weight and to get off of their medication. And this was sponsored, by the Massey Foundation. So we thank them for sponsoring this project. And if you have any further questions, on that, I'll be happy to answer them for you.
Well, what I'm interested in is the numbers. How many people were actually able to reverse this process? And were there individuals who had been suffering with diabetes, say, for over a period of 5 years, or was it individuals who maybe perhaps were dealing with the ailment for a shorter period?
Really good question. So our cutoff limit was 6 years. So the persons who had diabetes was 6 years or less, and they could not be on insulin. So as I said, it's a subset of participants with diabetes. So please don't try this again on your own at home. See your physician if this is something that you would want to try. So 6 years with diagnosed with diabetes or less. And we had 30 participants come through the program. We were interrupted by COVID, and that's another story in itself, how we were able to deal with this during COVID, because obviously they couldn't come to the faith-based organization weekly for their monitoring because we were on shutdown. But 30 participants were in the program, and we had persons with diabetes and pre-diabetes. So when I say pre-diabetes, that is your sugar levels are higher than normal, but they have not yet reached the level by which we call them diabetes. So that's pre-diabetes. And 24 of those 30 participants were able to reverse their diabetes. 4 of those 6 who were not able to reverse their diabetes, those were actually persons who did not finish the program. They would have stopped the program for various reasons. So basically, the majority of the program, great success rate, were able to complete and do well.
If I can go to Iman now, who is in the faculty, what's your specialty at the UWI and why?
So, good morning. Thanks so much for having me. So, we are the MSA. We represent the student in the MedSci faculty. So, I'm actually the secretary of the organization. And as it pertains to research, our goal really, we have an entire committee dedicated to outreach. One of the things that we do, one of our initiatives is Teddy Bear Clinic, which is basically where we go around to primary schools and we interact with children and kind of give them an idea of what it's like to have a successful doctor's visit. You know, we like to get those numbers up because a lot of children are afraid to visit the doctor. And, you know, essentially, the more children that visit the doctors, the more healing, the more treatment that can occur, the more reporting that can occur. All of this contributes to our public health stats. Another initiative that we have in our outreach is blood glucose and blood pressure readings out in the community, whether that's, you know, we'll set up a table at a supermarket, etc. So both of these initiatives help towards our research stats. And then additionally, the students within the faculty always have the option to work with faculty and postgraduate students. For example, myself, I was able to work last summer with our Deputy Dean, Dr. Kohal, and one of his postgraduate students in pharmacology and do some research with endocannabinoids in nitrogen oxide synthesis. So these opportunities are also out there for students. The MSA also plays a big role in increasing awareness of the opportunities and increasing awareness of disease.
And this is Dr. Kohal, who holds a space on the Medicinal Cannabis Board, is it?
Yes, that's the one.
Okay. Tell me a little bit more about that work that's been going on, Natalie.
Okay, so I'm just very thankful for the opportunity to highlight the fact that the persons that you were just not stuck on a hill. We're actually very much interested in the development of healthcare in the region. Now, as it relates to the medicinal cannabis industry and the development of medicinal cannabis, I think a lot of work has been done by the University of the West Indies and our faculty to demonstrate that medicinal cannabis is particularly useful for persons who may have issues related to control of pain, or in subsets of populations who may have decrease in their appetite, etc., who may be dealing with the side effects of chemotherapy-related nausea and vomiting. And I hope most persons know that medicinal cannabis is legal in Barbados. Physicians can prescribe. You can, with the appropriate prescriptions, use medicinal cannabis through your access it through your local pharmacy, really. And so a lot of work has been done to educate the public, to educate physicians, etc., about medicinal cannabis, and also to design programs for education. And Dr. Kohal has been instrumental. I also want to highlight Dr. Wendy Seeley, Dr. Euclid Morris, and myself, who also worked along with the Ministry of Agriculture to help develop some of these programs. But also, tagging on to what Iman would have said, Iman would have mentioned the teddy bear clinics and the various blood pressure outreach and so forth. I want to also highlight some other members of our faculty who are actively giving back in the area of NCD control. So one of our deputy deans, Dr. Kenneth Connell, he's very well known for his work with hypertension. Also, Dr. Heather Harewood, who's also aligned now with the Heart and Stroke Foundation. So it's not just enabling persons to have an education and doing research in our particular silos, but actually actively figuring out how we can impact upon society. So in preparation for this morning, I actually went through the number of our faculty members who are actually sitting on boards, whether it's from school boards or assisting ministries of health in their COVID effort. A lot of research was done from the Faculty of Medical Sciences, aligned with the George Allen Chronic Disease Research Center related to COVID. We actually had persons from our faculty who were on the expert advisory group for the Caribbean Public Health Agency, helping in the area of ethics. And so this is Dr. Michael Campbell. Then there was also Dr. Marquita Gittin-St-Hilaire. So we just have a very active faculty that's really contributing. And I want persons to see that this expertise is also available to them. So if you're sitting at home and you're watching us this morning and you know that there's something that you're interested in researching, if there's an area of healthcare that you see that there's a gaping hole as it relates to the development of that area of healthcare, I want you to see that the University of the West Indies, we do have the bench capacity, the public health capacity, the immunology capacity to help you answer and develop your research questions and related protocols, and also to take that bench science and translate it into to actively changing lives. Now, Kim, I know she's very quiet right here, but she was...
No, because I was just going to ask her to jump in here because I actually have a question for her because we're running out of time, Natalie. And I wanted to find out from Dr. Quimby, in terms of the continuing medical education, how many of our doctors are actually, or nurses, actually getting back in and trying to ensure that they upgrade and they're, as we say, up to the time in terms of what's happening internationally?
Well, we never stop. So you talked about getting back in, but I mean, as I was listening to the persons from TVET a few minutes ago, they were saying, this is part of who we are. We have to continue learning. We have to continue growing. So if we want to re-register yearly, we have to continue doing our continuing medical education. And even during COVID, that did not stop. So during COVID, we had to stop the face-to-face continuing medical education. But we very quickly got ourselves together to form a virtual, online CME education program. So even during COVID, when we could not meet face to face, that still continued because as professionals, we still had to do our professional accreditation. And because we are committed to serving the public of Barbados as best as we can, the best way we can do that is to continue growing with the science and the practices that are evolving. So not only did the growth and the way we did it evolve, but even the architecture that we had, the infrastructure that we put together during CME, we were able to use that for something else. And when I say CME, I mean continuing medical education. So I'll use that term from now on. So during last year and the year before, when COVID started, as I said, we had to get something else together. So what we did, we worked with the IT department of the University of the West Indies and the bursary, and we very quickly put together an online registration and payment system whereby physicians can easily and seamlessly, pay and register and attend their continuing medical education sessions online. Of course, once we did that, we saw that this is something that was working really well. We then kind of put ourselves up for hire. We named it the University of the West Indies Conference Services Online, so TOTS Online. And basically, we were offering that service to anyone who was struggling with a similar, in a similar situation. We were all in the same situation. We wanted to be able to still meet, but could not be able to do it face to face. So we offered ourselves up for hire, our online conference services. But because we like to be in the community and because we know this is a service we can offer, we offered it also to our CAPE students. So if you would want, I would continue now to tell you about the service that we offer to our CAPE students.
That would be great, Dr. Quimby, but we are actually out of time. You all have a whole heap, a half, and even extra going on at the Faculty of Medical Sciences. So I want to thank you all for coming. The George Allen Center, as we know, he would have been the Barbadian who headed PAHO for some time, making lots of strides in research. It would be interesting if we could know where a lot of this information is quickly available. Dr. Graves, where can we find these publications if we're interested in knowing how much can be done? Because I might have an ailment, somebody else might have one, and they want to know what the success rate has been like with the research. So quickly, if you can point us to where we can source some information.
Yes, so absolutely. So the Faculty of Medical Sciences has a website. So if we wanted to navigate from Google, you could just simply put in the Medical Sciences CAFIL from Google, and you will be able to find our faculty members. You'll be able to find our faculty. So it's www.cavehill.uwi.edu/FMS, and you'll be able to find faculty profiles, the research that we're conducting, highlights of our research, and then every year Cave Hill puts out a publications report, and in that publications report you will find references to all of the documents, and we also have COVID-related websites as well. If you navigate from www.cavehill.uwi.edu/FMS.
Okay, I want to thank Dr. Natalie Graves, who's the lecturer in public health and coordinator of the MPhil PhD in public health program, Dr. Kim Quimby, lecturer in immunology and coordinator of the continuing medical education, as well as Iman Beckles, who was telling us all about that teddy bear program, and she is the Medical Students Association representative this morning. Ladies, thanks for coming out to Morning Barbados and continue your research work. Morning Barbados will be back, and we'll be speaking with Rotary. In fact, it will be Rotary West. We'll be hearing all about a special project which they have.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
And welcome back to Morning Barbados. This morning we are going to be reaching out to the Rotary Club of Barbados West to hear all about their Ellen Steinbach Hearing Project. Now, the club launched its National Hearing Screening Project on the 7th of March at the Ministry of Education, and it was designed mainly to assist Barbadian children who do not have equitable access to education as a result of physical or audiological challenges. So along to tell us all about this program this morning are Renee Butcher, the president of Rotary West, Joe Steinbach, who is a member of the Steinbach family and also a member of Rotary Club Barbados West, along with Roger Best, who's the director and group lead of Commercial Banking Unit at Scotiabank Barbados, one of the partners in the project. Good morning to you, gentlemen, and welcome.
Hi, good morning, Wendy. Thanks for having us.
Always a pleasure, especially when we're looking to help those children in need, because, you know, each child deserves that access. Now, a little bit about Rotary from the president. Who are you and what do you do mainly in our community?
Well, thank you, Wendy. The Rotary Club of Barbados West is a service organization committed to making a difference in the lives of Barbadians, particularly those from disadvantaged socioeconomic backgrounds. We've been around for the last 40 years and we've had a particular focus on health, education, and what we do is we bring our resources together to meet a need or to make a contribution as is necessary.
Okay, well, that's wonderful to know. And Scotia, you have come on board with the initiative. Tell us why.
Thank you, Wendy. Good morning
again, Mornin Barbados. Wendy, its project is all about youth. And that's why we're so excited to be here this morning with the Rotary Club of Barbados West to talk about it. Youth children is a key investment of Scotiabank. And, you know, we recognize that this project would have consumed enormous resources, financial, human, capital, you know, the logistics to get this thing done. And once Rotary Club of Barbados West gave us the details, we were happy to jump on board.
Okay. Now, Mr. Steinbach, over to you. It bears the name of a family member, I suppose. And I understand you're providing free hearing tests as well as treatment for primary school age children. Why was this, you know, cause so critical to you and your family?
Thank you, Wendy. Good morning and morning viewers. This is an important area for our family for a number of reasons. The most important, obviously, is that my mother, Ellen Steinbach, or our mother, because I have 6 siblings as well, was deaf. She suffered from a hearing loss problem, and as she got older, she totally deaf. So having somebody with challenges hearing in our household was there, and we wanted a way to honor our mum. And when this project came along, we immediately decided that it's something that we would get involved with.
Now, if we can go back to Renee for a minute, how many children are you aiming to cover with this project? Because we know every project has its limits. Funding isn't always flowing like the leaves will drop off of a tree. So what's the target?
Yeah, Wendy, it's a national project. So we're aiming to screen infant speech students across the island. The latest statistics that we've had indicated there are 2,400, give or take, infant speech students. So that's our target. We're working hard to make sure we touch every single child. We don't want any child to miss out on the opportunity, particularly because we found that most of the kids that have been detected in the screening process, individuals did not know, the teachers did not know, the parents did not know that these children could not hear. And it is, for us, it is a project focus nationally, but it's also a project focus individually, because we are fearful of that one individual, that one child who's drifting through the school system. Nobody knows they can't participate. The performance is not there. The engagement is not there. And they suffer as a result. So we are aiming to target 2,400, but if we find 1, 2, 3 children, we'd be happy. Because we want to make a difference in that child.
Okay, so Joe, who else is coming on board to help you all with the project and the development of it other than Scotiabank? Do you have a number of volunteers that come out from the medical community to assist? Do Rotary members decide to get on board and assist with the program? How is it rolled out?
Well, thanks for asking that question. There are lots of people that are on board assisting. I think Renee is probably better for calling the names because I would hate to miss one. But I know that Barbados Community College is for sure helping us with lots of volunteers, and we've done some training with them to make sure that they could accommodate us and facilitate the program. Dr. Ben Stabler and his daughter and their clinic is helping us and doing the majority of the supervision and testing, and then they do all the follow-up information. And the Ministry of Education is on board. Without their help, we wouldn't have access to the kids. And those are the ones that I come to mind right away, and I would prefer to defer to Renee just to make sure that I didn't miss anybody that was participating.
That's right, because outside of the volunteers, I want to ask Roger about these audio meters that you'll be using to conduct the test, because you're dividing the schools up into zones. I guess, Scotia, you would have perhaps helped to provide some of that cash to assist with the purchase of some of this equipment?
Yeah, Wendy. Wendy, I can speak a little bit more about the details of the equipment, but yes, definitely our contribution would have gone a long way to, much of the logistics involved in this national. Again, Scotiabank recognizes that this is an important project. These are children with hearing impairments that could impact the development, of their lives and also impact, their opportunities for future job opportunities, future development opportunities. So from that standpoint, we didn't hesitate to join Renee and the Rotary Club of Barbados West in this effort. As they say, no child left behind, right?
Absolutely none. And Renee, now, infants B is that 6 to 7 age range. And I understand you're going to be doing the project in stages. And once you clear your infants Bs, you're looking to continue with some younger children? Just tell me a bit about it briefly.
Yeah, well, as it stands now, we're focused on the FSBs. Obviously, as Roger highlighted, Joe highlighted, and you mentioned it as well, the project is coming at a significant cost, particularly as it relates to treatment. The potential for the project to touch all of the student population turns on our ability to get partners involved from corporate Barbados, other well-meaning Barbadians. But if we can get that support and that help, our ultimate goal is to expand the project so that we can screen children across the entire range of classes in primary school, and perhaps even beyond that.
If I wanted to be able to assist, or anyone else out there wants to, how can they find Rotary West?
Well, it's, in this day and age, everybody has access to social media. We are no different. We have our Instagram page, we have a Facebook page, we have a website. On all of our contact information is there. You can reach out to any of us. You can reach out to me, indicate that you have a passion for making a difference. You believe the project is special. You believe the project can make a difference in lives nationally and individually, and you want to commit and do all you can.
Okay, so here's our contact information. www.rcobw.com is the website, and the email address rotarywestbb@gmail.com. Renee Butcher, president of the Rotary Club of Barbados West. Joe Steinbach, a member of the Steinbach family and also a member of the Rotary Club, as well as Roger Best, director and group lead commercial banking unit of Scotia Barbados, all getting on board and doing their part for our children. Here's the best of success to you, gentlemen, in this national project. We want to make sure all of our little ones are hearing. And because if we know they can hear what is being imparted, then we know they should be able to pick up and learn what they need to do, because that's a very formative stage in their development. Gentlemen, best of luck to you. Thanks for joining us on Morning Barbados this morning.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you.
And when Morning Barbados returns, we will be looking at some cleanup projects across the island.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Yes, and we're here to talk about Clean Up Barbados. We have Ann Harding, who's the volunteer project manager of Clean Up Barbados, and Abigail Sandiford, the volunteer assistant coordinator for the project. Now, first up, Ann, tell us what Clean Up Barbados really is all about.
Clean Up Barbados is an island-wide cleanup, and we benefit from this greatly. And we have so far 250 volunteers registered, and we hope to get 4 times as many people registered. So you need to Google Clean Up Barbados, use the top link that you see in your search results, and just click on that, and it'll take you through to the page where you can register to participate. And what we really need is for groups like schools and churches and companies that have social responsibility officers to check it out. There's information on that page also. And we really depend on the volunteers coming out to, let's do it together and clean up Barbados.
Okay. Abigail, how soon are you looking for these volunteers? When's the event taking place?
Oh, okay, so we are looking for them as soon as possible. The event is taking place April 23rd. We have heard from a lot of people recently as it relates to contributions. And as Aaron said, we've had at least 250 participants registered right now, which is great. So we're just looking to continue to advertise and get some more people to participate.
Okay, now exactly how do you go about the project? What do you give to volunteers? How are they dispatched? And
this is where the group leaders are so important, because the group leaders, we depend on the group leaders who get groups of people together to join them to participate. And then Abigail and I work together with the group leaders to make sure they have all the resources they need, gloves and bags, and they have all the instructions they need to give their groups. And if individuals register, we will look to link them up with a group that is in a location that's suitable to them to join. And then we get them together with that group leader so that they can provide them with instructions and bags and gloves. And we also have benefit from companies, skip companies, and the crane company, and bobcats, and compactor trucks, and all sorts, because we're doing this during the dry season to focus on inland areas. If you have a group with children, you'll want to clean a beach. But we were looking for adults who can come and participate to clean up some of these illegal dumping sites.
Yeah, and there have been quite a few cropping up here and there. Mm-hmm. So what's the support been like, Abigail, and how long have you been with the initiative?
Well, the responses from donors are very positive, and it's very nice to see. It's nice to see the support that we have. Some of our donors, they've been with us for years, and they consistently contribute to the cause. I've only been present for last year, so I was trying to get the initiative together last year for 2020. Of course, it was postponed. So this will be my first actual year helping with the event.
Okay, well, that's good. Well, best of success to you in terms of getting it done. Now, you mentioned that you want adults, and I guess this is to deal with some of the heavy lifting, given that people are dumping beds and old appliances and things like that.
Well, we do what we can, so it depends on who can come and help to do the cleanup and where we want to go. And yes, it does help, but many hands make light work, Wendy.
Yes. Now, Abigail, where can I go to register to volunteer before we go?
Yes. So where you would go, then you would just need to type in Google Future Center Trust Clean Up Barbados. It would lead you directly to the registration site. And from there, you would just say whether you want to participate or register as a group, as an individual. And it's as easy as that.
Well, that's easy peasy, as we say. So let's hope that more hands do come out, Ann Harding and Abigail Sandiford, to help make light work of things for you and the Future Center Trust with the Clean Up Barbados initiative. If we all keep our country clean, it will continue to be beautiful. Thanks for joining me this morning, ladies, and I wish you all of the success in the few months ahead and that you do reach your volunteer target.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning Barbados will be back after the break with some Fresh Fridays, and we're going to be getting funky for Fresh Fridays.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Yeah. Mona can hear me clear, right? Easy.
Yes, and it's time for Fresh Fridays. Now, do you remember this TikTok challenge?
Shoulders, knees and toes. Shoulders, knees and toes. Shoulders, knees and toes. Shoulders, knees. Turn around and bend. Bend. Wind to the ground.
Now, I bet you don't know something about that video. The originator of that challenge and that song is actually one of our own. He's a Bajan. Yes, DJ Cheem, the artist, Cheem, or DJ Cheem as he's better known in the entertainment community, is a young aspiring artist who wrote and sang the hit song Baba Ben, better known as Head, Shoulders, Knees and Toes, which grew to be an international anthem. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yes. Now, this song had over 3 million views on YouTube, and it was released last year. During the pandemic, it became, a personal favorite of several people that I knew and others knew, and it was a fun way of communicating and helping others to, spread some love and find something to do together as a family. What led you to create it, and did you know at the time that you would hit the 3 million mark?
Well, so when I created it, I was actually watching a TV show called Peppa Pig. I was babysitting, I was watching Peppa Pig. And Peppa Pig started singing, the nursery rhyme, head, shoulders, knees, and toes. And I was like, what if I put that in a soca song? And at that time, the whole world was shut down and, people needed something to do. So I put it on a bashment beat, and I gave it to TikTok and it just blew up. I didn't know that it would have went to 3 million, that fast. It surprised me and shocked me. So, I'm real that.
Okay, so when you did the song, who did you go to say, well, I want to get this beat down? Which studio did you go to, or did you just do it yourself initially?
So I did it in New York City. I have a close producer that I work with closely called Boogie. I just went to Boogie. I was like, Boogie. I sang the song to him, and like within like a day or two, Boogie sent me back a beat exactly like the way I sang the song, and then that was it. I went and recorded it that same day, and I put it out.
Okay, now outside of being a performing artist, you're also into acting.
Yeah, I used to do acting, when I was younger. I used to be in a lot of live theater, do theater shows when I was younger. Before I became a DJ, before I started doing my artist stuff.
So what do you prefer? Which do you prefer? Or are we going to see them cross over at any point in time?
You're definitely going to see them cross over. I prefer I'm an overall entertainer, but right now I'm focusing on being an artist. But you're going to see the acting slowly but surely.
Okay, now there are some, constant challenges which most DJs are faced with, like any other individual. And I understand that your battles are, with your vision of being victorious and where you want to be in the industry. Do you think you're getting where you want to be at the rate you want to get there?
I'm working on it. Things take a little time. I'm only really like 4 or 5 years in. So, I got a long journey ahead of me, and I'm looking forward. But, as far as I can say now, with that song, it opened a lot of doors for me. So I'm just ready. I'm ready for it all.
So have you been out to perform it?
Definitely. I've toured a lot of places around the world, performing the song. Actually, a lot of carnivals I've been to. Performing the song. I had a lot of big shows. I performed for Angela Yee Day in New York City, 105.1, Summer Stage in New York City. So that's a lot, just to name a few.
Okay. Now, I understand you have continued to write, even though the success of that one is good. Bing Bong.
Yes. Bing Bong.
What's that all about?
Yes, I just released that like last week. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like to cling on to like trends, and make trends even bigger. So I was hearing this Bing Bong thing a lot, and I had the same idea again. What if I put this on a soca song, So I hit up QQ and I was like, QQ, let's go in the studio. I laid down the draft for QQ. QQ was like, yeah, let's do it. And then that was just that. It was just straight vibes, and I put it down. And
well, let's watch the video.
Now, let's watch it.
Y'all want some new music?
No, are you going to start another challenge?
A challenge that's actually started already. It's going crazy all over Instagram right now. So, it's in some months and some time, the challenge is going to get big over time, but the challenge is definitely going crazy right now. I've been getting a lot of videos in the past week or so.
Okay, and it's only out a week, and you're already getting them coming.
Out a week. 10 days.
How do you think you can harness this popularity from the TikTok challenges to further propel you in terms of where you want to be in the industry?
Definitely, I'm gonna be, pushing on TikTok more because, TikTok is maybe one of the biggest platforms right now, for musical artists, and I want to push Bajan, soca, and bashment, further into the world. So I'm gonna use TikTok, and the trends as much as I can, to further, bashment, soca to the world,
Yes, we really need to let the bashment be seen as something different. It's
bashment
for young people.
Everywhere around the world.
Yes. And your challenge even got taken up here with us at our studios. One of our makeup artists, Joanna, and her family, they were excited about your challenges. So let's look at them. I want to thank you, Sheem, for coming because it was a pleasure having you. Yes, wish you lots of success as you go forward in your career.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
and toes. Head, shoulders, knees and toes. Head, shoulders, knees. Turn around and bend. Position them is good like a bumper. Bend.
Yes, Sheen, they had fun. I had fun watching. Everybody, all age groups joined in. You know, so that's been great to know that you're making strides, and I want you to keep doing it. If Peppa Pig is your inspiration, well, keep watching her. And
Big up
whatever
Peppa Pig
else,
for real.
yes, and whatever else inspires you to write and come up with these quick, witty songs that have the world jumping and moving. Continue
Appreciate
to
it.
inspire, Sheen.
Thank you.
Morning Barbados, it's been a pleasure bringing it to you. I'm Wendy Burke. Have a fantastic Friday.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning, Barbados.